British Prime Minister Theresa May is confident that her Brexit deal will go through besides tough opposition from the Labour Party. However, she could be facing litigation if she doesn't reveal the details of the legal advice she received over this deal. Right, joining me via Skype is economic analyst Chris Gilmore to discuss this subject further. Chris, good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon, thank you.
Well, Chris, for you, does it look like the embattled Prime Minister will not have a walk in the park on this exit plan?
She has got a major problem ahead of her in so many ways. The debates start this week and they culminate next Tuesday, that's the 11th of December, with a vote in Parliament to decide whether the meaningful vote, that's what it's called, to decide whether this Brexit bill will be adopted. Now, if you just do the numbers of the people who are probably going to vote against her, and I'm including many in her own party here, you're going to get most of the Labour Party, you're going to get the Scottish National Party, which is the third largest party in the House of Commons there, and probably even her supporters in the Democratic Unionist Party, all voting against her. It's possible, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's possible you could get the most resounding defeat in British parliamentary history since the 17th century. So faced with that, to answer your question, is it going to be a resounding defeat? At this point, it looks like it's going to be an absolutely resounding defeat.
So the issue of transparency is rearing its head again, and perhaps if we want to look at the contention that she has not released certain information regarding the deal and how it's going to turn out, the opposition is saying that they could file for contempt if she doesn't reveal certain information regarding legal advice that she got when she was deciding on this matter.
Yeah. And it's only a reasonable request because this is Sir Keir Starmer from the Labour Party is asking for all the background legal stuff that accompanies the Brexit withdrawal document. And the Conservative Party, of which she is the leader, is being very, very cagey about all of this. And the natural interpretation is that there's something to hide. So therefore, as you say, they're actually going to file in the courts for contempt. Now, I'm not aware of any party filing for contempt of Parliament for decades, for a long, long time. So again, this has serious ramifications. And again, it paints Theresa May in an extremely bad light. As I say, it suggests that she's trying to conceal something. If you go through this document, and I haven't gone through it, 585 pages of it, apparently, according to all of the criticisms of it, there's too much vagueness. And I think if they had the accompanying legal opinion that goes with it, that would get rid of a lot of the ambiguity in much of those 585 pages and would allow people to make much more of an educated interpretation of the whole document. So that's why I say I think it's a very reasonable request, and I'm quite surprised that she and the rest of her party are digging in their heels. But if they manage to get a court order here, that they have to release the legal stuff because otherwise it's contempt of Parliament, then they have no choice in the matter. They'll have to release it.
Well, Chris, there's this push-pull effect regarding Brexit. It looks like the whole nation doesn't agree. Even during the referendum, it was this feeling that the whole nation is undecided in terms of whether or not to stay in the Eurozone. So what do you make out of the sentiment and how economic relations are going to be like come March 29th?
If you go back to March 24th, 2016, when they had the referendum, it was a very close call, and the Leave campaign didn't really expect to win. And, in all referendums, no matter where they are, the result is only ever advisory. It's never binding on the incumbent government. But the zeal with which Theresa May has attacked this one, as you say, it's highly divisive, and 52 to 48, I mean, that's as close as you can get to a dead heat without actually getting one. The zeal with which she has attacked this whole thing, it really is quite incredible. She started off on the back foot, on the wrong foot, should I say, by saying we're not going to stay in the single market. We want out of the customs union. So it set a very, very bad precedent. And the EU mandarins seized on that and made it equally difficult for the Brits to move. So to answer your question, if they don't get this bill through on the 11th of December, and it's looking increasingly unlikely that they'll get it through, then what happens is a variety of scenarios that can take place. They can, the Tory party, her own party, can ask for her to leave, and can ask for a vote of confidence in her. They can have a vote of confidence in the government, and if they lose that, that could force a general election. And if neither of those things happen, then by the 29th of March, Britain crashes out of the European Union with no vote, with no deal at all. And it means at a trade level, they will just have to rely on WTO rules. And, you know, in the past 2.5 years, they've been manifestly unsuccessful in trying to formulate new deals outside of those that currently exist between the EU and many other countries. So I think it could be a really nasty pincer movement she finds herself in, if she's indeed still Prime Minister come the 29th of March next year, because it's going to be very, very messy. You're going to find already, you're going to see some of the banks moving their headquarters from London to places like Frankfurt and Amsterdam. You're going to see pharmaceutical companies moving their country of domicile. There'll be no free movement of people. You can't just move around Europe at free will like you can currently. Roaming charges that the cellular phone companies currently do not apply. I mean, you can phone it in the whole of Europe as if you were in your own home country. They'll start applying that. It'll become incredibly difficult to do business. There'll be a lot of friction that currently doesn't exist. So that's why I say it's going to be very, very messy if she doesn't get this deal through, and she probably isn't going to get it through. So, as I say, a lot of things can happen. Many different scenarios can eventuate. But even if she still remains as Prime Minister and crashes out in a bad deal, it's still going to be a very messy situation, and one, frankly, that the Brits really shouldn't have found themselves in the first place.
Chris Gilmore, thank you very much for talking to us. Chris Gilmore discussing with us the Brexit deal that is on a shaky ground. However, Prime Minister Theresa May will be addressing the British Parliament next week on this matter. And surely we will keep tabs on the story as and when it develops. It's back to you, Peter and Palisa.